I found that meditation before a show like helps me to again center, find more space, which we need in music to like let things unfold, and it helped me to find something, some peace and clarity.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Patrick Cook. Welcome to Being. Being is a place where we gather to explore some of life's most difficult questions. What does it mean to lead a meaningful life? What does it mean to live a life of purpose or on purpose? How do we make sense of the world? Really, what we're asking is, what the hell is going on? My intention with this podcast is to explore what it means to be human in the modern world through the lens of creativity, consciousness, and personal development. Through authentic conversations with a wide array of guests, including artists, intellectuals, scientists, visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, Being ventures to make collective sense of an increasingly complex world with the unifying goal of building a sustainable future for all. As humanity continues to march full steam towards extinction, we can no longer afford to simply ask, what is best for me? The question now must become, what is best for me and the whole simultaneously? And so, dear audience, I want to inspire you to take full responsibility, to find your purpose, and to engage your evolution as a conscious agent. I challenge you to live your being. If you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe to the show and get a new episode delivered directly to your device every Friday. And as always, I love hearing from you. So please do rate and review the episode on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or whichever platform you prefer. For show notes and more information, head on over to being-podcast.com. Now, on with the show. Garret Dutton, aka G.Love, has been writing, touring, and performing music with his band G.Love and Special Sauce for over 28 years. Garrett developed his iconic sound and style from his humble beginnings in Philadelphia and Boston by mixing diverse influences such as blues folk icons Bob Dylan and John Hammond with old school hip hop acts like the Beastie Boys, Third Base, and Eric B. and Rakim. Over their impressive and lengthy career, the band has built a loyal fan base and continue to entertain audiences with their signature funky blues, alternative hip-hop sound. This is a super fun episode packed with wisdom and anecdotes from a lifetime on the road. Make sure you stay tuned all the way till the end for G.Love's exclusive and special performance of his Grammy-nominated song, The Juice. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome G.Love. Garret Dutton, a.k.a. G.Love, welcome to Being, my brother. Good to see you, man.
Okay, good to see you, Mr. Cook.
Right on, dude. It's been a little while, but I count myself lucky to have hung out with you a couple times and performed with you a bunch of times, actually, here down in Costa Rica, which you're a regular. Didn't make it this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, I should thank you because you always save the gig because of your wealth of knowledge of so many hit songs. And actually, you've taught me some good ones for the arsenal. I always love coming back to the Royals tune.
Yeah, right.
It's such a great one. Yeah,
the Lord tune. Yeah, we rock it out in this kind of bluesy rock manner.
Yeah,
Super
man.
fun. Yeah, dude. Well, I can say from personal experience, having hung out with you and performed with you, like you are a true artist, a great songwriter, fantastic performer. But even above and beyond that, you're just like an incredibly kind, down-to-earth, relatable, authentic human being, and just filled with positive energy. So it's just a dream to be around you and to know you. Yeah, man. Really appreciate it.
Well, but before we get going, can I just tell a quick story because you're in Costa Rica?
Totally, dude. Go nuts.
And this has to do with our last gig that we played there. And
okay.
It probably won't have to do anything else with the rest of the podcast, but it's a story that has to be told because it's also a public apology. before I can show face and no sorry again. So we
Okay.
we had Rich had put together the show for us, like he does every year or did every year, and you know the the sh- we are all jamming, we're jamming. It's getting late, and then what was Marahu comes on stage and she goes, I gotta make an announcement. Tom, will the owner of a white Toyota hatchback with this license plate please move your car? You're blocking in 5 people. And then I'd say on the mic, will the owner of a white Toyota hatchback with this license plate please move your car? You're blocking people in. Okay, it's Patrick counting the next tune. Let's go. So we jam another 15, 20 minutes, and then Mary will come up. Guys, someone's still blocking in. Someone's still blocking in. Make the announcement again. Mary, I don't know what the fuck I say. You say it. All right. Well, the owner of the white Toyota shit. So this went on. So we ended up jamming till 2 a.m. And I must have made the announcements 5 times, right? And and finally that's it. It's the end of the gig. It must be 2:30. We've hung out afterwards. We all the musicians said their goodbyes. Time to so I walk my gear out to the white Toyota hatchback rental car with the license plate. And all these people who were at the show like, it's this motherfucker. It's fucking G.Love has blocked us in all night long. I mean, I felt so bad. I was like, I had the key in my pocket the whole time.
Oh, dude.
My only thing I could say is that they told me to park there, and I said at the beginning of the gig, "Are you sure you want me to park here? I'm blocking somebody in." They go, "No, just park there." So, public apology. I'm sorry, and whoever I blocked in that night, please forgive G.Love, the parking kook.
The parking kook. I love it. Oh, man. What a great night. So many great nights with you in Costa Rica. Just an honor and a pleasure to jam with you, dude. God. We had so much fun. So I hope we get to do it again someday post, COVID madness and all that shit. But so much I want to ask you about, like, where are you at, man? Like, how are things going? I remember talking to you, used to do like 150 dates a year touring. Yeah. So that's got to be a big change for you in the last year. How you been doing with that?
Man, it's been crazy. It's to me, it's just been like a time to be fluid and kind of try to figure out what the next pivot is going to be. Yeah. So, I mean, just to kind of sum that all up, my band, along with every other band in the land, across all the lands, all went home from tour March 13th, 2020. Yeah. So I was on the plane home March 13th from Santa Barbara, and kind of panicked that first weekend, and then we just said, look, what can we do? My son's stepfather, Will Daly, who's a musician, he started immediately doing like live streams and donating half of the live stream income to a local venue in Boston where he played. So he said, why don't you do this nationally for all the venues that you play around the country and the world?
Yeah.
So we did that. We started that right away. So March, April, and May were like live streaming. Plus I was doing lessons online, songwriting sessions online. And so I had about 8 to 12 students a week, ranging from like 10-year-old kids to working Nashville musicians, either writing songs or teaching harmonica or guitar. Just that was work. I told my wife, I'm like, I do not want to, like, as much as the connection was great, meeting everybody and the connections I made with all those kids and adults, it was awesome. It was just like, I don't want to, that's not what I love teaching, but it's not what I want to, that's not what I really want to be doing. So anyhow, then springtime came, and we kind of pivoted into doing some social distance shows up here in New England. I'm on Cape Cod playing the local brewery in town here. They have an outdoor space. So, and then starting to do house parties. So I got with the help of good people at Bose, I got a Bose PA, and then we bought a pre-owned Chevy Suburban to put all our rig in, and
Nice.
so we were able to hit the road doing shows around New England. I put together a new band called G.Love the Juice, which was a bunch of other shipwrecked musicians up here in New England with some members
Cool.
of Slightly Stupid. And then that took us through the summer and the fall. And then when it got cold, we went south, and we've done 2 tours now, one to Virginia and back, and one to Florida and back. Again, some social distance public shows and some social distance private shows. Now we're kind of like hunkering down, but we're still doing a limited amount of private shows. And the last thing I'll say is that it's like every new chapter presents new opportunities if you're willing to like invest in what you need to make it happen, and go out there and do it, and just try. Obviously we want what everybody else wants. We want to get back to work. We don't want to be part of the problem. So we've been really like, we really show up in a safe manner, and just try to be safe as possible.
Yeah.
So
Awesome, dude.
The musical community is shut down more than any other industry. Well, it's one of the biggest industry. I should say it's probably one of the last industries to go back to some normalcy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a tough year for sure for touring musicians and artists and of all ilks. So that's really cool that you've had a chance to pivot. I think it's been an opportunity for everybody to sort of reevaluate and sort of take stock. Whatever business you're in, whatever state of your life you're in, stage of your life, it's like, this is an opportunity. Okay, like what's really going on here? What's important to me? What isn't important? Where can I be more focused, more grounded? Where can I do some inner work? I think it's been a really great time for that for everybody. So it's really cool that to hear that you're sort of pivoting and reinventing, reevaluating, and coming to some solutions that feel good for you, because you spent like 25 years on the road, dude.
Yeah,
like you're a warrior.
28. But I was just looking at your microphone rig, which is the exact same rig as mine.
Yes, it is.
And so it's just an example of investing in the technology to be able to do what you're doing from home now.
Totally.
And also just showing the fact that we're here on a Zoom, and the Zenster you're using for the audio, and that business is obviously doing well. And obviously this particular Shure SM7B has probably sold a lot of fucking units this year.
The guys at Shure have had a good year. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Oh, hilarice.
I mean, not so much the 58s, but this thing,
exactly.
you know what I mean? 58 sales have crashed, but these things, fuck, everyone's got one.
For those not in the business, the 58 is like the gold standard for live vocals. So, and then the SM7B seems to be the new gold standard for podcasting. I don't know. Joe Rogan uses it, so I guess
sure,
it's cool.
I'm sure.
But I'd love to hear, like, I'm really curious, when I talk to guests about their trajectory, about their journey, about their childhood, and like how they came to be where they are now. So if you wouldn't mind, like, take us right back to the beginning. Like, were you supported in being creative as a kid? And then what was your first experience, first exposure to music? How did you get into it?
Wow. I mean, I will say that, and it remains true to this day. Like my parents have been like my biggest supporters.
Oh man, that's
they
so
gave
awesome.
gave me the springboard just in life, and certainly like supported, kind of probably against their better judgment. They kind of supported my dream of trying to they supported my enthusiasm and love for music, and then kind of like they supported against their better judgment, like the dream and that I had, like that I was like, no, I'm not gonna follow like a regular path of like going to college or and finding a traditional work.
Did you know really early that music was it for you?
I did, I did, Patrick. Like, well, at least I had that pipe dream, and I knew I didn't want to have a regular job.
Right, and that's highly motivating.
It is, yeah. I mean, the story goes like this: I was a good kid, but I did cut school twice.
Yeah.
And at one time was to finish a history paper, and we got busted for that and got suspended. So I don't know what that about. So you cut school because you want to do your paper, but then you get suspended, so you get a free day off anyhow. Like, what is suspension when you're a kid? You're like, oh, I don't have to go to school today. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. Like, my mom's pissed off, but so what? But the other time I cut school was to, I don't know, go on a little date with my girlfriend. And sophomore year, I had my bag lunch from my mom, and I'm now that I'm adult, I'll admit my mother made my bag lunch till I graduated high school. I love you, Mom.
Nice. Oh, dude, that's commitment.
My turkey and cheese sandwich and my Doritos or whatever, and sitting on the hill. You have my juice box.
You have her hauling gear for your first gigs too, man?
My mom, nah, man, come on. But yeah, I was sitting on the hill with my little girlfriend, and I just remember saying, all I need is this bag lunch and my guitar.
That's it.
So that was kind of once I started writing songs, and like I had an urge to perform the songs in front of people and record the songs, and I never, and a really early influence, profound influence to this day, John Hammond, the blues man. Like,
oh man,
he was accessible, and I got to see him play at some small venues. So in my mind, like, that was a music business that I could see that I could maybe achieve, making one record and touring, playing coffee houses. So that's what kind of the goal was, to make, because Bob Dylan and John Hammond, my two biggest influences, made their first records, both I think in 1962, and they both were 20. So I was like 17, and that was the goal. Like, okay, I have to make a record by the time I'm 20. That was the goal. So everything went into like, that was where I was trying to head, and I did get it.
Unbelievable.
So it was unbelievable. I moved from Philadelphia to Boston to be a street musician, 1992, because that was, again, it was like the gig you could have that no one, you didn't have to ask anybody, right? You could just go out on the street and start playing. And I knew from doing it in Philadelphia, I could make a little money. So that was like a small crack in the door to the music business. And that by that next December of 92, I met my drummer. So the band was put together in January of 93. It was just a duo, Jeff, my drummer, and me. And then we got Jimmy Jazz on the bass. And then by 9 months later, that October, we signed a deal with Epic Records.
Wow.
So basically 9 months later, and we had already completed half of the debut, like, G.Love and Special Sauce record by then. So
wow,
pretty epic.
Wow. Yeah, you mentioned John Hammond. I got the honor and pleasure of seeing him in Toronto many years ago at a little place called Albert's Hall. Any Torontonians or Canadians listening might recognize it. It's above the Brunswick House in Toronto. Super small venue, and that just I'm getting chills remembering it right now, dude. What a powerful performer and writer, unbelievable. And I can see now, in your style, a lot of his influence as well, on like just that powerful bluesy harmonic, like soul that you bring to your performances. Like, really, really cool, dude.
Yeah, if any listeners out there ever get a chance to see John Hammond coming through town, to me, like, his solo acoustic performance, it obviously changed my whole life trajectory, and to see his performance, his foot stomping, the command over the guitar, vocals, and harmonica is like nothing else. And then as far as he's really like it's also a journey down like the history of the blues because he plays so many renditions of
Yeah,
these classic tunes. It's
totally.
pretty important. Uh, and John's like he I could talk for an hour just about John, but like John's like a really unsung hero of the music
Yeah,
business in the sense that like he introduced well the band, for instance, Robbie
yeah,
Robertson, and they were called the Hawks.
yeah,
They were John Hammond's band, right? And then John Hammond introduced them to Bob Dylan because Bob and John were best friends.
right.
John Hammond's father, John Henry Hammond, was the A&R guy who signed Bob Dylan
No shit, I
to
didn't know that.
Columbia. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff. Jimi Hendrix was a huge fan of John Hammond and played with John, and it was at a John Hammond gig that in the Village where uh, whoever was the English people that kind of got a hold of Jimmy and took him to England and he
Yeah.
came back a star. But it was at a John Hammond show where Jimmy was like discovered and contacted there.
Wow.
So a lot of like a lot of big things in rock and roll kind of happened, you know, through John Hammond. Although he, you know, he the major success that some of those people I spoke about kind of eluded him. But in that way,
Right. Yeah.
he's remained accessible.
Yeah, totally. So you mentioned you were making that first record in 92, and did you like the classic G.Love and Special Sauce sound of like that sort of bluesy, groovy, white boy Philly rap like that? Just you came up with this beautiful melange of different styles and genres and made it your own. And like it's just it's so iconic now, but in those first days, did you embody that? Like that just come to you naturally, or was it a conscious decision to go in that direction?
Yeah, no, it was actually I had this lyric from the song called "Product of the City," and it goes, "It just really happened. No, it just kind of happened. It wasn't thought up. This
Right.
is the city, and I am the product." Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, like kind of, it's interesting. Did you ever read the book Outliers by
I
Malcolm
did.
Gladwell?
Yeah.
So you know how like there's all these cool stories like why did Steve Jobs and
Yeah.
Bill Gates, they were a couple years apart. They grew up 10 miles apart in this part of the Bay Area where Hewlett Packard was. So they were able to get, Xerox machines or whatever out of the trash and start working and making computers, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing kind of happened in Philadelphia, like in and kind of around the country in the early 90s. So if you think about like I'm 48, so my generation kind of coming young teenage in the 80s kind of being the first fans of hip hop, right? If the Beastie
Yeah.
Boys are like a little older and some of the rappers LL or KRS One are
Yeah.
probably like early 50s, right? So we're like the
Right.
kids
Right.
that were right after them. So
Yeah. Cool.
so we kind of grew up listening to that hip hop, and that was the music of our generation, right? And then
Yeah.
just kind of if you just speak, frankly about hip hop as an art form, as a pure like it was an art form out of the black community. Is the music was it introduced a new instrument, the
Yeah.
turntables,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
And then had elements of like funk, which was part of the black. Um, so any the black music experience, right? So then,
Yeah.
so the reason I bring it up was that like um, it was in that sense when hip hop first came out, there wasn't really many white rappers, right? There was the Beastie Boys, and there was Third Base, right? That was
Yeah.
about it, right? So I found out about hip hop. And I loved it, but I never like consider myself a rapper. But anyhow, I'm getting ahead of
Mm.
it. So, but long story short is by the early '90s, I stumbled upon doing what I did just because I was a hip hop fan, I also like grew up in Center City, Philadelphia, so I was part of like, and it was like everyone was breakdancing or playing basketball, and then we went to graffiti writing and skateboarding. These are all kind of like street culture like stuff, and so then I started rapping just lyrics for this Eric B. and Rakim song over a blues riff I was playing, and I was like, oh shit, that's like
it.
there's no one else that's doing that right now.
Totally.
Like I it was an epiphany on the corner of Second and Lombard, and I was like, it's like the light shone down on me, and I realized I was like, I must be the only, I don't know if I feel like I realized it very clearly, like I'm the only person doing this right now. And meanwhile, across town, there was these two black kids, Amir Thompson and Tariq Trotter, aka Black Thought and Questlove from the Roots.
Right.
They're same graduating class, 1991. They I think Tariq was from South Philly and Amir is from West Philly, but literally like Philly's small, so they're probably 20 blocks or a couple miles in either direction. They went to the Kappa Creative Performing Arts School. So they had a different approach, right? They were trying to make with live instrumentation, trying to recreate this process hip hop sounds that they loved.
Yeah.
But again, no, it wasn't. Hip hop wasn't supposed to be a band.
Right.
Right. So they came in through the back door. I snuck in through the back door, and then we started making our record, and the producer Dave Johnson said, "Guys, I'm going to take this demo out now. I got a meeting in L.A. Next week with the record labels." Well, he came back. Well, how'd it go? Man, it didn't go well. Well, what the fuck? Well, there's another white guy rapping and playing guitar. What? What the fuck? What? Yes. Well, what's his name? I don't know. Some guy named Beck. You know what I mean? So like this. But again, this happened all at the same time, and it just, if you think back and relate to the Outliers, it was the time when that was that first wave of like appropriation of hip hop, which now is widespread across all genres of music, from country to bluegrass to reggae, and everything's so that's it.
Wow, man. Wow, what a trip. And so that first record, how did it do? And then was there any pressure from the label to sort of change your style or, go more mainstream? And, how did that develop over your career?
I think that's a good question, because for one thing, when we were signed in the early 90s, like from probably 1990 to 2001, that was like the biggest, the record labels, right, ruled the world, and the amount of money that they were generating and spending was unbelievable. So it was the climax of the music business before, and then Napster came along, and then everything crashed, right? So, but before then, it was like this shit was royals, right?
Yeah.
So like they had money and they were doing things, they'd sign people for a tax write-off, but they signed people as developing artists. Well, what is the developing artist? Well, a developing artist means, hey, look, you don't have a hit right now, but you're doing something pretty interesting, and we hope and think you might get a hit one day, right?
Yeah.
So like people that got signed in my class as like developing artists, like Dave Matthews, Ben Harper, maybe Michael Franti. I'm talking about guys that are still around.
Yeah.
But that was like my class, and the Roots, like, so eventually we never really got a hit record. Yeah. We have had a kind of enjoyed a successful long career, and heavily based on like live touring and live performance. But that was kind of the premise of us getting signed, and we were developing artists. So that's still developing.
Aren't we all? It's a lifelong pursuit, brother. It
Yeah,
never ends.
indeed.
But that's the beauty of it, I
Yeah.
think. Like we were saying earlier, like this has been a chance to reflect and pivot and just to take stock and like, where have I not been paying attention, or where are some areas of my life that still need development,
Yeah.
outside of music or your talent. It's like it's an opportunity to look at all angles. And a lot of people are doing the work, and so it's amazing. So I want to ask you about your relationship with your own creativity. Like, in the beginning, it's like this natural phenomenon, but you enter a record deal, and there's all sorts of external pressures. You're going on the road, there's drugs, alcohol, and broads, all sorts of distractions. How did you maintain your level of creativity? And what would you say is your current relationship with creativity? How has it changed over time?
Man, that's another great question. You know, songwriting was the catalyst, and still is the catalyst for everything.
Yeah.
As far as forward momentum and giving you like yourself a validation and a reason to show up on stage or to show up in the studio, but especially on stage, and to keep the old songs fresh.
Yeah.
You have to have the new shit that you're passionate about, that gives you that fire, right?
Yeah.
That gives you that euphoria and that purpose. So, for me, it's always been songwriting,
Yeah.
and that's been the catalyst for everything, for the urge to, like I said earlier, the song started writing songs, found an outlet for the expression, and that leads me to want to record them, and that leads me to want to share that on stage
Yeah.
and make people happy. And then when I boil down what's my mission on stage every night, it's a little different, because that's not just about me, right? And
Mm.
my creativity. It's also about connecting and giving, uh, trying to lift people up. So what's my mission is to make people happy and to inspire them,
Mm.
connect with them on stage every night. So what, how did it keep going all those years? Well, I mean, like, I'm just a person, and I kind of grew up into my, you know, I grew up out on the
Yeah.
road,
Yeah.
um, so certainly plenty of distractions, plenty of times where I was kind of lost, or
Mm.
just always just trying to figure it out. Made a
Yeah.
ton of business mistakes, ton of personal mistakes.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, and but again, like, just the one thing that always saved me was just being able to, like, when it's showtime, to really, night after night after night after night, find that inspiration and that joy, whether it's,
Mm.
meeting you guys right for the first time and say, what are we going to play, and let's let it fly,
Yeah.
to to any other performance I've done. So,
Yeah.
it's all about that,
Yeah, man. I totally resonate with that. And it's such a gift that I'm so grateful for, to have that. When I do step on stage and connect with an audience, it's another level. But there are some times where you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's
Yeah.
happened to you many times.
Oh,
Like, so how do you sort of overcome those nights where the band is off, you're not feeling it, whatever it is?
yeah, like, it just kind of comes back to it. I'm sure you know this feeling, as anybody that steps on stage, not even music related, like,
Yeah,
you're lost, right? And,
yeah,
and you're going to try and find yourself, but you're trying
yeah,
to do it in front of people,
yeah. Right.
right? So,
And
or you're
that can mean,
scared, you're
yeah,
vulnerable, you're opening
you're
yourself
vulnerable.
up, right? and
Totally,
and,
man.
and that's and that's like the after school, I call it the after school special thing. It's like some of the best nights are like that, where you're like, I don't have, I feel completely empty,
Yeah,
I feel completely scared, I don't want to play any of these songs that I have, I'm not
yeah,
feeling anything. And then, but you're still gonna throw yourself into the fire, and and something comes out, because it
yeah,
has to. So
yeah,
I think that's, um and it's just kind of part of it is like, and it's like, you gotta jump into it. You just gotta jump in.
yeah. Totally. And like you said, you do end up summoning some strength, some courage from the depths of the well, and it just comes out. And the thing that super helps is when there's an audience there that can sort of give you a lift. If they have some energy to give, and you get sort of a little lifted from that, and then you start that, it creates a positive feedback loop. It's like everybody's lifting together. But there's other nights where you're feeling great and the audience isn't responding. You know what I mean? And it's like,
you're like, damn,
it goes,
you're not feeling this?
Man.
Look at me,
right?
Look how great I am. No, but I was gonna say another thing that comes to mind is a comfort zone, right? Like, it's such an important thing to like continuously put yourself out of your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
I mean, I just had the experience last week. I was like musical guest with Robert Randolph in Colorado, and this dude Nigel Hall kept calling all these like these old soul tunes, and I had to all of a sudden learn all these cover tunes. And some of them, I'm not gonna lie, like some of them I stepped off the stage because I said, look, if I don't feel like I can add anything, I'm gonna step off and not ruin it. But I did put my, again, it was, I'll tell you what, it never got comfortable all week for me, but just having that week of like being out of my comfort zone, it felt so great to just go play my acoustic show and be like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. Even if you don't have a break, even if you don't break through, you're always kind of, even if you don't have a breakthrough when you're out of your comfort zone, when you come back to your regular comfort zone, you're going to be really appreciative and see it in a new way. So that's another important part about music and just life. Like, just I think about how that relates to surfing. I mean,
totally. And it relates to everything. Like you said, it's a good metaphor for life. Is like you need to, continually be challenging yourself outside of your comfort zone. Because that's where the growth happens, right?
Does it get harder when you get older?
That's a good question. It depends. For surfing, definitely.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I'm just going to start long. How many times have you come out of of a session in the water and just said, "That's fuck this. I'm never surfing again."
Yeah, more times than I'd like to admit, for sure.
And like, yeah.
But with surfing though, it's like, dude, it's how can you complain? Especially here where I live, and you know what it's like. It's like the water's so warm, it's beautiful, the sun is shining. Like you can have the worst fucking session ever, and it's still an amazing day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to keep that sort of attitude of gratitude about it.
Nah, for sure.
But your question about going out of your comfort zone, I think it's something that has to become a tool. It has to become part of your routine. It's like if you start to feel too comfortable in anything at any time in your life, that's the time. It's like, okay, I gotta break out of this, because that, like I said, when you go outside of your comfort zone, there is that vulnerability which prevents a lot of people from doing it because it's scary and it's uncomfortable. But that's where you learn about everything, about yourself, about life, So it's so important to continually do that, I think. And that kind of circles back to your songwriting. Like I know from my perspective, I wrote jingles for advertising. I would find myself, for like 20 years. That was my gig.
Really? Because it's so funny because that opportunity presented itself almost when I first moved to Boston as a street musician. A guy I met at an open mic night did that, and I was like, I always thought about like a lot of songwriting as jingles.
Yeah.
Totally. So you actually did you make any famous ones?
Yeah, well, famous is a relative term. I made money.
Have I heard any of them?
Like, probably, but yeah, I couldn't sort of rhyme it off and you would remember what it is.
The heartbeat of America.
Yeah, nothing like that. But I got one I got a Bud Light on the Super Bowl. And
no way.
Yeah, totally, dude. Like that was the sort of peak of my career.
That's amazing.
But the funny thing about, the interesting thing about jingles is like when you talk about songwriting and the traditional sort of pop song is like 3 minutes, right? You got to tell the story in 3 minutes. With jingle writing, you got to tell the whole story in 30 seconds.
Right.
So it really hones in your ability to tell that story. Like there's no messing around.
How did you get into that?
So I was a musician, in my teens, playing in bands and shit, and then out of university, there was so much work in the film business in Toronto where I grew up that everybody was in the film business. So I was on set, in the art department for shooting commercials in Toronto for years. I'm like, wait a minute, who's making the music for these things?
Okay.
And this is like in 99, 2000, like right when the technology, like Pro Tools, was just becoming affordable. So I'm like, holy shit, I could actually start recording without 150 grand for a studio. Yeah, I can do it with 10 grand,
Yeah.
And so it's just sort of that confluence, like Outliers, like it was just that timing was perfect where I was at the developing and the technology price was coming down. So it's just, it was so lucky. And I had a great career. But what I was going to say is that I found myself later in my career falling into traps of comfort zones. I was burnt out, yes, and kind of bored with it, but just doing the same thing over and over. And I was like, I wasn't growing is part of the reason I got out of it, So I was going to ask you, like, how do you keep it fresh? Like your creative process, your approach to songwriting, has it changed, or is there some routine that you go through to get into the flow?
Yeah, I mean, this might sound a little weird, and I don't know if if I'm on the right path or not, but it's just I don't write unless like um I don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm gonna write a song. You know what I mean? I have my phone, and if something wakes me up in the morning, I will sing it into my phone, and there's hundreds of ideas, and I'll write it down.
Right.
But then I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait now till I'm kind of ready. I'm also saying this like in a point where I just dropped my new record, which is Grammy nominated. For the first time, I got my Grammy nomination.
No shit.
Yeah,
Really?
This past February, my new record, G.Love the Juice, got nominated for Best Contemporary Blues Album.
Holy shit! Congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's epic.
So, that writing process was like Kebmo produced the record, and we wrote the record together, and that was like such a cool experience of songs that like I wrote in my traditional way of like really like sitting down and writing a song, and then also writing in collaboration with someone on the spot, going for it.
Like in the studio?
Yeah, like in the studio, like putting up a beat. All right,
cool.
now play something on the guitar.
Right.
Okay, record it. Okay, so what are we doing here? And then the ideas just start flowing, right?
Wow, epic.
But like now, and this year's just been a weird year because, like I said earlier, like I was doing a lot of songwriting. I'm just gonna show you the book real quick. I was doing a lot of songwriting sessions. Like people would, my two guys I wrote with a lot was a 13-year-old kid from Philly named Noah Gibney, and 30-something year old kid from Philly who is a professional musician in Nashville. And so, like, dude, I filled this whole book this year writing songs with my students. So I've written quite a lot of songs, including one I did. I hadn't done a session for a while. I did one with my drummer last night who had a thing called A Mississippi Man Drowned. So I've done a lot of writing this year, but at the same, and a lot of it is it really is me, a lot of the writing, but it just, I guess I'm just kind of rambling because I don't really have a good answer. But how do I stay creative and fresh is to kind of like, I don't force myself to do it, and I'm only going to write from a pure place of inspiration when like I feel like it's time to write a song for the right reason. Because of the fact that I got a lot of records out now, and the hardest thing for me to do right now every night is to pick out which fucking songs to play and not play. And it's like a big thing because I want to play like 50 tunes, but I can only play, in a show before people start leaving, you know, you can only play like 10 to 20 songs, right? So
Yeah,
it's a really tough thing, and it's a
for sure.
frustrating thing. It's a frustrating thing to like not play songs for a long time. So it's a tough thing because I do think I've always said like songs are like your kids. Like you know, some of them
Yeah.
go on to have great success, and some of them are fucked up. You know what I mean? Some of them you don't want to hear about it, and some of them
Yeah.
are you know superheroes. So but you love them all, right? At least you
Yes.
love them
Yes.
all for that moment that you wrote them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not the most perfect metaphor, but somewhere in there.
Y-
So long story short is, uh, I'm just playing. You know, like I play a lot of shows, so like I feel
Yeah.
like, and even during this time, like doing the fucking Zooms and the fucking
Yeah.
lessons, and then the live streams, and then doing live shows. It's like I'm kind of fulfilled, and now I'm also a different age, right?
Yeah.
I'm a
Right.
family guy now. I got an older son, I got two little kids, and Kelsey's pregnant again. So
Holy shit, dude! Congratulations.
thank you. Like
Wow,
I
it's been a
don't.
big year in the G Love
Yeah, it's
house.
been a big year. But like you know, like I don't. So the point is that like I don't. I'm just being honest. I don't practice my guitar. I
Yeah.
don't practice the harmonica. I play
Yeah.
fucking shows. I don't.
Right.
I don't just. I'm not just gonna. I don't have the time now like I did when I was 25 and single,
Yeah.
to write, to just kind of like sit with my guitar for the 3 to 8 hours a day. It's going to take you to like
Yeah.
really write songs. So I'm either like playing gigs, and now I'm packing my shit and unpacking my shit because there's nobody around,
Yeah.
or I'm like you know, hanging with my family. And now with the
Yeah.
pandemic, we've got um, 10 chickens, one rooster, three goats, two dogs. I got so much shit running around here, Patrick. I gotta
Oh,
fucking
dude,
like take care of everything. So like
that's awesome.
I'm like feeding the fucking goats and like milking the fucking goat. I'm like, I'm supposed to be practicing my fucking guitar.
Papa G taking care of
Dude,
business.
it's
Dude,
I
that's
don't even know
awesome.
what to say. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I should practice. I should practice more. I should shed more. But luckily, I shedded a lot for a lot of years. So I don't know
Yeah,
what
for
to say.
sure.
You know?
Well, here's a B part to that question then. So one of the questions I love to ask artists on the show is like, where does creativity come from? Like you said, you only write when you're inspired. And there's this anecdote that I like to recite, whether it's true or not, of John Prine, you know, rolling down the highway in LA one day, and he gets this hit of inspiration from on high, like a song wants to come through. He's like, can't you see him fucking driving here, dude? You know, like I can't write a song right now. It's like, go bother Leonard Cohen, you know? And this has definitely happened to me
Did
before.
he say that? Did he say that?
I can't remember where I heard that.
That's
But
funny.
it sounds like a John Prine anecdote. But it's happened to me before where it's like, a song sort of appears in the ether fully formed, and it's just my job to be the channel
Oh,
and
man.
get it onto paper, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's other times where I got no ideas. I'm going to write a song, and I sit down and it comes a little more forcefully, but it does come,
Yeah.
So my question is, where does creativity come from? Is it something that you create internally, or is it something external that flows through you? Maybe it's a combination. What do you think?
Right. Like, okay. So again, like another quote was like Keith Richards said it really well in his book, which is a must read for any
Oh, it's epic. His
creative.
autobiography?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
like
amazing.
he was just like, you know, you have to be open. You're like a sponge, and you're just like
Yeah.
kind of, it's channeling through you, right? Like life,
Yeah.
and you have to be ready to catch those moments right when they
Totally.
come, with the necessary tools, whether it's paper or your fucking
Yeah.
recording or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
You can't miss those because they just like, and the songs that you dream
Yeah.
and stuff. But and kind of coming back to my point of not doing too much musical work right now when I'm not on the stage, and this is maybe a detriment, is the fact that it does require that work. It's like if you compare it to the martial arts, right? It's power and repetition, right? So
Yeah.
you do these katas over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And um, and you do that so that it's like, all right, let's be fun. Let's take it back to the Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off, right? But then, why am I fucking doing this over and over and over again? Well, paint the fucking fence. All right. Well, I'm not fucking doing it. No, you're gonna fucking keep painting the fence. All right, now look, someone punch you. Oh, paint the fence. Okay, right. So it's like, so you do the power repetition so that those moments do come, which is like those songs just coming out like thin air. And the thing is that the best songs are the ones that come the easiest, that you just literally like.
Yeah.
Because it only takes that sticky thing, and you need to find that, and to your point, like, you're going to sit down and write a song, but you're going to kind of force it. You have to go through those times as a songwriter to like bang your head against the wall trying to write a shitty song and not being willing to just say, oh, you know what, fuck this shitty song. This is everything about it is forced and it sucks, but I'm still going to finish it. And then, you were right. It sucks and it's forced. But that banging your head against the wall got something loose up there so that other great song just spilled right out. You know
exactly.
I mean?
There's a metaphor. I think Ed Sheeran said, you got to turn on the tap and let, when you first turn on the tap, there's like this dark brown water that comes out. You got to let it flow until you get to the clear water, the real goods.
Right,
and that's exactly what you're describing. You got to let those shitty songs come out to make room for the great ones. But when you do get that hit, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, another great thing to do is to write with other people. Even though I've struggled with this too, because like songwriting to me, especially like for the first 20 years of writing songs, like really a solo endeavor, like locking yourself alone, really getting in touch with what you're trying to say. And writing in collaboration is a lot different. It's like a lot lighter. It's quicker. A guy that I wrote with a lot over the years is a guy, wonderful producer and artist, Cisco Adler.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know him.
And he's so cool to work with. He's like just vibes so hard. And and one thing I like about working with him, if we ever get caught up, and it could be on a line, a word, or even just a whole song, it's just like once he senses that creative spark has kind of diminished or completely gone away, it's like, shut it down. Let's move on. Yeah,
right.
Move on.
To another part of the song or another song altogether?
Both. Just like, don't get caught up. Just like keep it flowing. So back to that point of like banging your head against the wall, I don't do that shit anymore. So, you know what I mean? So
you've done it enough already.
If it's not happening, move on. Don't get caught up.
Totally. So, dude, in your 28 years of being on the road, you must have seen a lot of shit and learned a lot of lessons and met a lot of people, so like, what are some of the biggest life lessons you've learned on the road, and from whom?
Oh man. I mean, the thing that pops into my mind is like, it's just, you have to, and surely you can relate, like kind of just from an outsider seeing a journey you've been on the past couple of years, with mindfulness and sobriety, right?
Yeah, totally.
Just kind of like finding a routine, right?
Yeah.
Keeping your health up, like getting like to be on the road so consistently, like your health is everything, right? So
totally.
What do you need to do to show up every day? And so like if we were touring, like my regular day would be like, I try to sleep because my job is late at night. I try to sleep as much as I can. So I don't try and wake up early. I try to sleep as late as I can, stay in my bunk. I got to rest my voice.
Right.
The voice is everything. Okay, so got to make sure the vocals rested. Get up, have like my morning, whatever. Actually, I have like subscribe to like Tim Ferriss's like the 4-hour body, like, so trying to have like 30 grams of protein. So I generally do that with like protein powder and also powdered like greens. That's my basic, because I can have that home and I can have that in a hotel, and I can always have that. I don't gotta worry about breakfast because it's 2 scoops every fucking day. All right, so 2 scoops, 30 grams of protein, and all the greens, that a person would need for like a whole day. Even though I love to eat greens anyhow.
Yeah.
But and then I like to hit the gym or get some kind of exercise. Take care of my business, and then it's sound check, followed by like a main meal of like real food, and try and make it as healthy as possible. And then a nap, and then I wake up. I do a meditation.
Nice.
I generally use like I use this app called Headspace, which I'm sure a lot of people use this year, which to me really like has changed my life. And then I do a vocal warm up with my vocal coach. Like either on Zoom or on a telephone. So I was actually my old vocal coach passed away at the end of right before COVID hit. She was an older woman, and her name was Donna Newman, and we would talk every day on the phone. So it was really sad, but I got a new teacher since then, and her name is Amanda Flynn. The only reason I bring it up is because she's like, have you ever heard of this app called Zoom? I want you to download this app because that's a platform I use to teach. So I was like using Zoom for a month before the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, I already had the app, motherfucker. I was like, I'm ready to go. Zoom. Oh, fuck. You should have bought stock. But so do a vocal warm up, and then, then it's, go out. I make my set list. And then it's showtime. So I think
your set lists are like a piece of art too, right? I've seen a bunch of your set lists. Like you do it with meaning. You put your heart into that shit.
Yeah, like it's funny because my set lists are like a hand drawn set list. They technically are art, I guess you could say, because I sell them. And I've sold hundreds of them. But it was like that's not why I made them at first.
Yeah,
I used to write graffiti, so I like to like scribble and scrabble, and I'd always make my set list, which I never would follow anyhow, but I'd make it. And then I said, these are pretty cool looking. Let me and then Instagram came out, so I started taking pictures. So if you go to hashtag G.Love set list, there's I've posted over like 600 hand drawn set lists up there. So but that's part of my routine, again, to like center myself before hitting the stage. So those are some of the things.
Awesome, dude. I love all of that. So you mentioned meditation and Headspace. Like what has meditation, how has it benefited you? Like if somebody else that maybe a musician or anybody really, like I'm a big meditation fan. It's changed my life as well. So I'm just interested in what your experience has been like with it.
Yeah, I had a terrible breakup and just a terrible relationship. Although I didn't realize it was terrible when I was in it. I just was constantly heartbroken and jealous and wondering why things weren't going well. Can we talk about this now?
But, sure, brother.
But it really spun me out, like, and I'm sure a lot of people out there have had times, nothing can spin you out of your life like a terrible relationship, whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
So, and on again, off again, breakup type of shit. So I was really spun out and in a really bad place for some number of years, trying to make this thing work. Well, finally it didn't work, and my wife Kelsey, she got pregnant, and we had our first son, Lewis, and it was around that time that and I was still spun out, just honestly. And I hope she doesn't listen to this. And she won't. But she I was spun out, but I did, again, like coming back to that Tim Ferriss podcast. He always has like interesting sponsors, and Headspace is one of the sponsors. So there was a thing that they said 10 for 10. So you use the app, you could do 10 meditations for 10 minutes a day for 10 days in a row and see how you feel. So I said, I feel like shit up
Yeah.
here and in here. And I got this beautiful baby and a beautiful woman that loves me, and I can't see past
Mm.
this other shit. So I did the 10 for 10 day meditation challenge, and it fucking like I felt like I really snapped out of that, and I was like,
Wow.
literally like it
Yeah.
helped me to find something, some peace and clarity, and yeah. So I kept doing that, and then I used it. I used it. Mostly for show days because again, like I'm kind of a nervous
Mm.
person and getting on stage required a bit of stage fright,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to kind of find something to. I found that meditation before a show like helps me to again center, find more
Yeah.
space, which
Totally.
which we need in music to like
Yeah.
let things unfold and
Yeah. It quiets the noise of your mind,
yeah,
where you can tap into that essence of creativity and like the shit you really want to deliver and create from and
yeah,
express from,
yeah,
rather than creating from the noise or the fear or the whatever is going on in your head,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful, dude. Wow. Amazing. G.Love, this has just been so good to connect with you
Ha,
again, brother. I miss you,
I
man.
miss you too, man. I miss our annual gig.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully that's going to happen again real soon.
yeah,
Last time I saw you, I remember in Denver. I think it
right.
was
Uh,
July 2019.
yeah,
You were playing a gig there,
that's
yeah, and
right.
you debuted the Juice, like the
Okay.
single,
Yeah.
as the encore, and you played it
Okay.
acoustically, and I was like, "Fuck,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
that's a great song. It's a hit." And now you got a Grammy nomination. That's
Oh,
epic,
thank
man.
you. Yeah.
Epic.
That's
Do you feel like playing a song right now? Would you be up for it?
sure I can.
That would be
I'll play the juice. I was just going to say just back to back to the power of songs cuz I meant
yeah.
to say this earlier was like or something that we were talking about was um like the new that's what it was like the new material like for me even though this song the juice now I've been working on it for since 2016 and it is released now and I but be, to me this song is like everything about the reason that I'm able to get on stage
Mm.
and play all the other tunes. I often have felt in the past couple years like it's I'm playing all those other songs so that I can play this one.
Wow,
And that's
cool.
the power of like new material when you
Yeah.
really feel like connected and it's something that you're saying that you just wrote that you care about right now. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Epic.
you see, you caught me off guard. I wasn't expected to play, but you're gonna say you play a song. What am I gonna say? Nah, man, come on, come on.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. This is gonna be epic. I'm so excited.
And it's actually in the. Let me just tune.
Yeah, man. Take your time.
Yeah, it's so we got a Grammy nomination, but the Grammys got pushed back to March, so I won't find out whether I win. It's
Oh shit, man.
just the hugest honor of my life to be considered and actually like just speaking on anything like again like just we're talking about like a lot of like stuff in life like manifesting and
Yeah.
purpose and everything like that was when I sat down with Kebmo on our first day in the studio before he started working. He's like, "Gee, what do you want to do here?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"I want to get a Grammy." And Keb's
Seriously?
yeah, and Keb's won 5 Grammys, right? So
Holy shit.
that was part of like talking about like going with a coach, like a mentor
Yeah.
who's been through the process, who has achieved multiple times that success.
Yeah.
Now look, man, you don't need a Grammy to most musicians are not going to get a Grammy,
Yeah.
and a lot of uh, the best musicians in the world and the best records that we all know and love in the world never got Grammys or anything. So it doesn't it doesn't say everything about anything. But if you do want to get a Grammy, you should work with someone that's got a Grammy before, or I guess that's the point. It's like it's just
knows what it takes.
I guess processes,
And then setting the intention, like you said about manifestation, like
intention,
you're announcing to the universe, this is my intention with this record, so that energy gets infused into the process.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Fucking A. You're gonna win that shit.
I'm gonna win that shit.
I'm gonna win that shit.
All right, so here's the juice.
Nice, brother. Woo! G.Love, ladies and gentlemen, the juice.
I'm gonna take my headphones off. Ready, Blueberry? Here we go. No more lies about that. No, hold on a second. And you still can fuck shit up even though you're Grammy nominated. We got the juice. Juice. Oh, tell me what you want, baby. We got the juice. Yeah. Patrick, I say jam along, but there's that slight delay.
I know it's the latency, dude. Can't do it.
No more lies about this, no more lies about that. No more ace if you sleep, just lay your cards flat. See how streets said it rough when the struggle is tough. Bad news on the news every day, it's enough. It's enough to make good people turn around and leave. Or how about we march in the street, cause we're free, raise our fists in the air. Cause we do care, you say who cares? We do. We got the juice. We got the love. We got the dreams. We won't give up.
We won't give up.
We are the change.
We are the change.
We had enough.
We had enough.
We got the juice.
Got the juice.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Divided you fall, united we rise. Up in order to see through all these tears in our eyes. And why do we cry? Teardrops stay stained. Like Cat Stevens, we ride the peace train. Oh, let us be real. You must be insane in your brain. Something's wrong, man. You cannot remain. We need positive change. We will not regress. Power to the peaceful. We must progress. We got the juice.
We got the juice.
We got the love.
We got the love.
We got the dreams.
Got the dream.
We won't give up.
We won't give up.
We are the change.
We are the change.
We had enough.
We had enough.
We got the juice.
We got the juice.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Let's get loose, baby. Woo. Let's get lifted. Something's going on now and you sure don't want to miss it, no. And you can feel it in the streets, from your toes to your feet, from sea to shining sea. Hit it with a blues power beat. You gotta write a letter, man. You gotta sign a petition. You got to get out and vote. Don't stand down. Stand up. And look here, this is a letter, but also a song. And if something ain't right, then it must be dead wrong for the birds and the bees and the ocean and the trees and every single person's sanity. Humanity is all of us, all colors and all kinds. Now we want world peace and just a little peace of mind. We don't need no more wars. We don't need no more guns. We need a better world now for our daughters and sons. Go get it. Let's go. We got the juice.
We got the juice.
We got the love.
We got the love.
We got the dreams.
We got the dreams.
We won't give up.
We won't give up.
We are the change.
We are the change.
We had enough.
We had enough.
We got the juice.
We got the juice.
Time's up. Time's up. Time's up.
Woo!
Time's up.
Yes,
Thanks,
baby. Garret Dutton, a.k.a. G.Love. Thank you so much, brother. It's been such a pleasure. Grammy-nominated album, The Juice, baby on the way. Man, it's good to see you and hear you thriving during some challenging times, man. Thank you so much for your time today.
You too, Patrick. It's great to see you, and man, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
brother.
it.
This is amazing. Let's keep in touch. Yeah, I want to keep this going. Keep the fire going. And yeah, all the best, man. All the best.
Right on, man.
All right, man. We'll talk to you real soon.
Okay. Thanks again.
Peace, brother.
See you. Peace.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the show, please do subscribe, rate, and review. For more information and show notes, head on over to being-podcast.com. We'll see you next time. And remember, live your being.